Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. I'm very excited because a few hours ago, Criterion Collection made its announcement on its website with regard to its planned releases for January 2020. Wow, what an interesting eclectic lineup. You can take a look at the website yourself, criterion.com. But for our purposes today, let me just share with you my initial reactions to this announcement. My opinions might change over time, and of course when the actual item arrives at my doorstep, I'll try to do a deep dive into the actual release itself. But just my initial reactions are as follows. So without further ado, let's go into what they will be releasing. So first is January 5th, 2021. 3 films by BUNUEL, and these are The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, and The Phantom of Liberty, and That Obscure Object of Desire. Next, on January 12th, BINU's Minding the Gap. Next, on January 19th, 2021, Rolling Thunder Revue, a Bob Dylan story by Martin Scorsese. And on January 26th, 2021, The Ascent by Larissa Shepitchko. So, with that is going to be January 2021. What a phenomenal way to start the new year, if I do say so myself. Let me begin with Minding the Gap, which is a film that I admit I haven't seen, so I have no experience with this film. I have read up a little bit about it in the past due to a number of people mentioning it to me in passing. And so I became very curious about it. Unfortunately, I was unable to catch up with it here in Tokyo. Well, now the Criterion Collection is doing me a great favor, me and many other people a great favor by making it available like this. So I'm looking forward to this immensely. As I say, I've heard a number of things about it. And I should note that it will include, it seems from the website listing, it will include a commentary track. And as you know, I'm a big fan of those. So this is one to look out for. So Minding the Gap. And then we have the release of the Martin Scorsese film, Rolling Thunder Revue, a Bob Dylan story by Martin Scorsese, which is a really interesting work. I was able to catch up with it fairly recently, and it was a recent film from Scorsese. I think it really serves in a lot of ways as a nice counterbalance or interesting counterpoint in many ways to his other recent film, The Irishman, which is also going to get a Criterion release, as some of you may know. And so I like this blend of, I like the way that the film presents information. It's very clever, and it's very jubilant in a lot of respects. So I think this is very much a kind of film that is also a film about the craft as it is about the historical artifact nature and the subject matter, which is also very important to the heart and mind of the artist and filmmaker and music lover and aficionado that is Martin Scorsese. So, and the subject matter to Bob Dylan and the times is absolutely fascinating stuff. So, this is highly welcome, and so I'm very much looking forward to this as well. It's another Scorsese film, and of course, more Scorsese films the better, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. But in any event, this is another great thing to celebrate. Spy number 1062 from 2019, Rolling Thunder Revue, a Bob Dylan story by Martin Scorsese. And then let me go back to the start of the year. So January 5th will be the first release by Criterion, I'm assuming. And this will be the BUNUEL set. 3 films by BUNUEL. Wow. Wow. This is huge. This is actually very huge. It's huge because we're getting not 1, not 2, but 3 key works in Bunuel's 1970s period, in many ways the final period of his really fascinating filmography. And you're getting three iconic works of cinema, not just of Bunuel films, they're that, of course, but they are iconic works of cinema, period, underline, circle that, because this is phenomenal, out of this world, zany, inventive, imaginative, wild stuff. That's funny, that's thought-provoking, very, very satirical and biting, and all the time with a wink to the eye, a wink of the eye to the audience, excuse me, and of something of a playful nature, and but still with an edge and a real heft to them. Fascinating set of films. So if you haven't seen these films, this is a great opportunity, my friends. And of course, Bunuel as a filmmaker, this is a filmmaker that deserves a lot of attention. We've had Criterion releases in the past, of course, but it's great to have a box set. More box sets of Bunuel films, the better. And so if this is hopefully the start of something new, then that's great. If we can get more box sets, wonderful. Still, to have this set, fantastic news. And of course, we know that the films that are included in this set are films that were at one point Criterion releases on DVD, right? And so, actually, I should put Phantom of Liberty in the middle like this. Just to observe the chronology. Although in spine number terms, as you know, Phantom of Liberty comes in the 200s, while these two are in the 100s. But the significance of this, therefore, is that the box set is a Blu-ray set that is a return of these three out-of-print titles that used to be on Criterion DVD. So that is itself very significant. If you recall, there was the discussion, a very brief discussion that we might have had with regard to the release by Criterion this year, 2020, of the film, the Godard film, Pierrot le Fou. So if you recall, in that discussion, there was some mentioning of Studio Canal and Lionsgate and that era of Criterion releases. So this set of films is also part of that. So to have, oh, and I should say also that if you are interested in a further detailed discussion of that part of Criterion's history, because it's really fascinating, the real specific details about this idea of Criterion and Studio Canal, and what their long history is, and how that affected certain titles in the collection. There are many Criterion-related forums online that really go into the specifics about this. So I encourage you to take a look at those. Do online searches and take a look at Criterion forums, because there are a lot of great discussions there if you want to get into what those specific titles were, what the history of the possibility of rights, etc. But for our purposes here, let me just say that this is a great further indication of those similarly situated titles having the possibility of returning to the Criterion collection. So this is following, in many ways, a kind of trend that we see. This kind of trend, I think, is very significant, and we should keep an eye out on this going forward in 2021. But in the meantime, voila, we have this box set. And as I say, Criterion does box sets like no other, and so hopefully they will bring their Criterion quality to this. There might be some issue, I don't know, there might be some discussion about the artwork, because the artwork appears to be a little bit different. In particular, I think with that obscure object of desire, cet obscur objet du désir, but that's, I think, a healthy discussion that we can have, especially when the set arrives. But in any event, my friends, and I will try to do a deep dive doing the comparative analysis with the older DVD supplements versus the new Blu-ray supplements, and the quality, etc. So I look forward to that very much. So that's the Bunuel set that will start the year 2021. Fantastic stuff, absolutely fantastic. But it doesn't end there, because what we get next at the end of January is this release, the Larissa Shepitko film, The Ascent. This is from 1977, and the artist Larisa Shepitchko is so brilliant. Of course, as you may know, she left us tragically much too soon. But what she was able to leave behind is extraordinary. It's an extraordinary body of work. And so this film, The Ascent, what a great announcement this is going to be. Spine number 1063. Again, you can take a look at the website directly for this information and information about the other releases. As you may know, this film and another film called Wings is actually included in this currently available DVD Eclipse Series 11 set called Larisa Shepitchko. So if you're interested in this Eclipse Series set, I recommend it. I actually might have talked about it in a previous video in the past. Wonderful stuff. This is one of those great films. You watch it, you will never forget it. It has a great impact, powerful, poetic, and it is so gritty and real at the same time. And it captures something of an essence of the power of cinema at its finest. Wow. And so to get this in a new individual release based on a new restoration and supplements, this is really a great way to celebrate cinema. So I strongly recommend it, my friends, if you haven't seen it yet. It's a great opportunity in January. I should say, though, in passing, that this could have some indication, some bearing as to the Eclipse Series lineup in general. As some of you may know, the Eclipse Series lineup was, or is, I should say, because it's currently ongoing officially, it's a lineup of DVD-based films of what might be deemed to be films that might be, for lack of a better phrase, under the radar type of films. And so that is the series is brilliant. Now, it's a DVD-based series, and it was very active until, say, a few years ago. Also, with the advent of the Criterion channel, that means that perhaps films that would have otherwise been given Eclipse Series treatment are now perhaps, maybe, likely being shown and made available on the Criterion channel. So I think a lot of factors, perhaps, I'm speculating of course, but perhaps are at play as to why perhaps we are not necessarily seeing a lot of activity or any activity on the Eclipse Series DVD front. Okay, which has fueled speculation as to will the series continue, will it maybe change formats to Blu-ray or something else, and what will happen. We have seen, of course, in the past, some films that were in some Eclipse box sets or Eclipse Series lineups that were then given further current Blu-ray treatment. I call your attention to Agnes Varda and the California films. Those were then included in the Agnes Varda box set that was released earlier this year. But to my knowledge, I don't think we've seen, up to now anyway, a film that had been in the Eclipse Series lineup and then broken off from its particular set and then given its individual release with a spine number. I don't think we've seen that. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but if my assumption is correct, then this is very interesting news indeed. Then I think, of course, I mentioned the Agnes Varda set, so that might be something that will contradict my assumption. But my point is an individual release like this with a spine number. So there's always been speculation and the hope that maybe Criterion would do this with a number of its Eclipse Series films, and or maybe there was the hope that it would turn its Eclipse Series into a Blu-ray line. Maybe it would take all these films and have them their own Blu-ray releases. I don't know. I would love that, of course. I think that would be marvelous. But in the meantime, just again, knowing that we are speculating about what will happen with the Eclipse Series lineup going forward, I think in the meantime, to have this film given its own spine number and given this treatment with special features, some documentaries I see and others, wow, this is great. This is great. I love the Eclipse lineup, don't get me wrong, I really do. But there's something about an individual release that I think will attract potentially more people, more consumers, and so hopefully that will mean that more people will give this film a chance if they haven't seen the film already. when there's a next sale, for instance. Maybe that will be the opportunity to get it, and then you will watch it, and then hopefully you will really just be amazed by it as I am amazed by it. So I think that this is great news. So if you are interested in the Eclipse series lineup, there are many others. Or if you want to wait for this new Blu-ray in January, please do. I'm going to get it, so I can't wait to watch it again on this new presentation to see what it is. But let's just keep an eye out also for how this might affect Eclipse films going forward. Who knows? There might be more, I don't know, films that could be made their own individual releases from other Eclipse series. I would welcome that so much. That would be so wonderful, because there are a lot of great, all of them really, there are a lot of great gems out there. So let's also just keep an eye out for that and see what happens in 2021. But in the meantime, we have this wonderful film, The Ascent by Larissa Shepitchko. Okay, my friends, so that's it as far as the January releases go. And I think this is a great lineup. What do you think, my friends? If you have any thoughts or comments, please feel free to let me know in the comments section below. I'd love to hear what it is you have to say. But until then, my friends, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Thank you so much, as always, my dear friends, for your time. Please continue to stay safe, stay well, and I will talk to you very soon. Until then, cheers.